What's up, everybody? We got the Pocono double this weekend, and I will tell you your favorites, your value picks, your long shots, and who I would pick. All that and more coming up next on the Cup Preview. Okay, so first things first, let's jump into the stats. Your last four winners in the last six races at Pocono have been Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex, and Kyle Busch. Of course, three of those drivers are Gibbs drivers, and Gibbs cars have 4 wins themselves in the last 6 races. And if you look at the average finish, the top 10 average finishes of the last races, you have 4 Gibbs cars in that mix. You have 3 Haas cars in that mix, 2 Penske, 2 Hendrick, and actually 2 Ganassi, which sort of surprised me. So if you break it down numbers-wise, it's looking like a Gibbs track. If you just want to look at individual drivers, the top 5 average finish is Harvick, Hamlin, Kyle Busch, William Byron, and the 5th one, actually Daniel Hemrick. That sort of was surprising, but below him was Aric Almirola. So there are your top 5 finishers. So of those numbers, it sort of rounds out back to your 4 winners. So those would have to be your favorites, I would say. That being Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Martin Truex. So those are your numbers, but if you dig a little bit deeper, you can actually find that numbers don't always tell the whole story. And this season in particular, even though this has traditionally been a Toyota track, Chevrolet seems to have found some horsepower. And with the long straightaways at Pocono, I think even with the high downforce package, which I'm sure they're running, with that extra horsepower that Chevrolet apparently has found since merging the RCR and Hendrick engine programs, I'm thinking this could still be a Chevrolet track. So if you dig back into those numbers and look at some Chevrolet teams, what jumped out at me is, of course, Hendrick is up there with William Byron, and they also had Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott is in the mix with that as well. And Kyle Larson was the Ganassi driver, one of the Ganassi drivers that got those in there. So you've got obviously 3 Hendrick drivers that you would pick from on the Chevrolet deal, but RCR and Ganassi aren't totally out of this mix. I could see a Ross Chastain, Tyler Reddick sort of in that mix as well. So if you just go on sort of the Chevrolet deal, that sort of bumps your idea back to Hendrick drivers. So I would sort of think some Hendrick drivers. But if I'm looking at pure value picks, I got to factor numbers in, and my pure value picks are actually going to be 1 Chevrolet, Byron. I would go Byron on that pick for a value pick. Ryan Blaney, who has a really awesome average finish here. Brad Keselowski and Aric Almirola. Of course, Aric Almirola has had a bad season up until recently, but I think that race could spring him, and he's always good at this track. Him possibly winning is not totally out of the question if they hit the setup. So those would be my 4 value picks: William Byron, Ryan Blaney, and Brad Keselowski. If you're just going to go out on a limb, let's say you want to throw $25 at somebody on a long shot just to see what happens, going back to the Chevrolet thing, here's where the Chevrolet thing would really play into the value, to the long shot pick. For me, I would go Ross Chastain as a long shot, Erik Jones, who has an amazing average finish here because he was one of the Gibbs guys, and also Tyler Reddick and Austin Dillon. I think all of those guys with Chevrolet power are getting laid really good numbers at this particular track and could pull the upset. And obviously this is Pocono, anything could happen. A lot of times this race is decided by weather, it's been decided by fog, it's been decided by rain, and a lot of times this race is decided by gas mileage. So I could see any of those teams having a good run and then having something fall their way. Especially with RCR, the way they do analytics during the race, this could be Tyler Reddick's breakthrough race where he gets one. Now you may have noticed I only picked 1 Hendrick driver, and he wasn't a favorite, and there is a reason for that. I read an article where NASCAR is cracking down on Hendrick. They're really scrutinizing them going through tech, and that is not a good sign if you want to pick a winner. I don't want my guy being looked at too hard in tech. It just makes it really, these things are hard enough to win anyway. This makes it even harder to win a race. So that's why I'm kind of cold on Hendrick, and I've sort of bumped those other Chevrolet drivers up, even though they were long shot picks. I'm not picking a Hendrick driver as a favorite if you're going just based on numbers. But that being said, at the end of the day, I've rolled with him this long. I'm going to keep rolling with him. I think he gets at least one of these races. Kyle Larson, I think, will win at least one of these Pocono races. And I think the other race will be won probably by Denny Hamlin. I wanted to say Martin Truex, but I feel like they've gotten just a little bit off recently. So I'm going to say this is where Denny Hamlin ends the winless streak for this season. And it's going to be a Hamlin and Kyle Larson weekend at Pocono. All right, let me know who you've got down in the comments down below. If you like the content, please subscribe. And thanks for your time. Peace.